Welcome to Crave the Rave, a naughty podcast for old school ravers who need a fix of the rave. I'm Lady Bizarre.
And I'm Jess the Mess.
On each episode, we'll be reminiscing over hilarious, embarrassing, and downright mental stories from our raver days. Think trippy tales, fezzy fails, and stories from the sesh.
We've seen, heard, and done it all.
And we bet you have too. So join us for a trip down memory lane. Hello, Jess. Welcome to another episode of Crave the Rave. How are we doing today?
I'm good, Lara. I'm always good, really, but I'm super good today because I've just had a massive Sunday lunch with my mum and dad, and now I've just snuck away from the table to talk to you.
Oh, yeah. I hear that just before we went live. You said that went down like a shit sandwich with Ashley.
Yeah, well, my mum and dad have got a French family over who don't speak English. And my mum and dad don't speak French. And then because we've moved into my mum and dad's house to live for a bit while we renovate our house, we've been roped into Sunday lunch, which is lovely. The food was banging, but we're sitting in the middle of the two families that can't talk to each other. So there's a lot of noise going on. You'll probably hear it in the background. There's nothing I can do about that. But then it was time to record with you, and I snuck off. And I can't tell you the daggers I was getting from Ashley, as I said. After pudding, I'm just going to go and call Lara. And then I've left him downstairs with my mum and dad, baby D, and a family that don't speak English. So I feel really fucking bad, but at the same time,
I can literally picture his face. It's making me laugh. I can picture it. He doesn't like the podcast, does he?
I just don't think he likes it. I just don't think he likes me taking time to go and chat about the old days and leave him with my family or with the child or, anything like that. But hey, everyone should have a hobby. Raving used to be our hobbies. And now our hobby is talking about raving. Ashley said his hobby used to be taking drugs.
And now that's been taken away from him. So
yeah, exactly. Now he hasn't got any hobbies. Actually, this really leads into a good topic. I really feel like we should go and start again a little bit, go right back and talk about the good old days, and maybe start with our first rave, because I know we've touched upon it and things like that, but I just feel like, should we talk about our first rave experiences to each other, because they're always a good thing to chat about. I just like thinking about them. They put me in a good mood.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. The chances of me actually remembering them are small, but we can give it a go. Yeah, I like it.
Well, I'll remind you along the way probably of all the stories I've got. I mean, I know we talked about how you went to Fabric in heels.
Yes, that was my first ever rave.
Yeah, and that feeling of when you walk into Fabric, but when it came to the Fabric raves, we got absolutely addicted to them. So we went true players every Friday, and I'm not kidding, for about 5 years. And what I'd love to do is I'd love to connect with people who knew us from the raves, because there were people at raves that we'd see every single time. And it's before the days really when you had it was before the days of social media. So you didn't really share contacts like that. But it would just be so funny if you could actually, I don't know if I want to meet up with them, but definitely get in touch. Get in touch with people from back in the day, because it would be hilarious. I'll tell you who I'd like to find. There was always a couple in Fabric that were always having sex at the in room 3. As you went in, there's a little corner sofa bit, and they were always there, probably for about 5 years, every Friday, and they were banging away on that thing. Do you remember them?
No.
You don't? Oh my God. They were there. Let's find those people. So if you know who they are, or if they are you, can you get in contact with us?
This is a national campaign.
This is a national campaign. If you are, or if you know the shagging couple at Fabric that were there every single Friday on that sofa, can you let us know? I don't know why I need to know.
Do you have any information, any identifying characteristics?
Yes.
A tattoo, maybe? I'm asking you, Jess. Do you remember?
Oh.
Do you remember anything about them, or just the shadows?
I think she was blonde. I think she had long blonde hair.
Okay.
And he would sit down and she would sit on top of him and they would always be shagging and they were always there.
Oh, okay, so she was riding.
She was
Gotcha.
riding.
She was Red
all night long.
Riding Hood. Literally.
No, I was Red Raving Hood.
She was Red Riding Hood.
Riding Hood.
Riding Hood, yeah.
But no, one of the first raves that I remember going to was at that bloody Matterley Bowl down in Winchester, where Boomtown is now. And it was called Homelands. And basically it was a day night festival, but there was nowhere to camp. Now that I look back, I'm like, how the fuck did this happen? Because that Matterley Bowl, for everyone that's been there, knows it gets fucking cold because it's like a valley. So at the bottom of it, it gets wet and it gets cold. No matter if it's a boiling hot day or not, at night, and before the sun comes up, it is really cold.
Freezing.
It's like foggy. Yeah. And so we went on train and then we got like a bus from the train station. It took us to... Do you know what I just remembered happened on that bus? From the train station, the police got on and said, if anybody's got drugs on them, get off the bus now. Because if you're caught with them on you now, you won't be in trouble. But if you don't declare them and you've got them on you and we search you and we find them, you're going to be in trouble. Now, we all just stayed put. People actually got off that bus.
Oh, really?
I don't know what happened to them, but I think they probably just got them taken off them. I don't know. But we didn't get off that bus. And then I think I remember really shitting myself, actually. And then basically got to this Matterley Bowl and it was a day rave sort of thing, sort of thing that you'd get in like Clapham Common now. But it went on all night. It went on till 6 a.m.
Clapham Common? Are you sure about that?
You get those festivals in the parks nowadays, like Hospitality in the Park, or you get all those day festivals. This was that, but a day festival and a night festival. But there's nowhere to camp. So... Westfest?
I've been to Westfest. It's a drum and bass thing, but that was all day, all night, and there was no bed to camp. You had to drive back, and it's like, that's a recipe for disaster.
That's what I mean. That's a recipe for disaster. They were giving out Lucozade tablets, but I mean, come on. Sending a load of kids down in cars. And I don't think the buses stopped running throughout the night. So you had to wait because they were put on, these buses, for the rave. You had to get the bus from there back to the train station. Well, they must have been because the trains weren't running. So they must have just been for that. Anyway, we didn't care. We were like 17. We were fucking raving our heads off.
You don't give a shit.
We didn't want it to end. Yeah, we did not want it to end. Other than the fact we were freezing cold when you came out the tents. But I do remember it was my first experience with laughing gas. And I bought a balloon of laughing gas and I just in one go went like you would helium. And then I was like, well, that was an anti-climax because that did nothing. Okay, that was it. But I remember thinking, wow, I just did laughing gas. But I thought, how helium makes your voice change? Yeah. I thought it would make you laugh. Like when you go to talk, you'd be like, but it didn't do any of that. And I thought, oh, God, okay, well, that's another drug under my belt, tick, because I couldn't, I was like always desperate to try everything, and that was another tick, but it was really anti-climax and it wasn't half as exciting as I imagined. But it was £1, so no money lost really.
Yeah, wow, that the inflation, lol. I just realised inflation, inflation on balloons is really high. That's amazing. High as well.
But that's where we met Dave the rave for the first time, and he was 21. Yeah, he was 21 and I was 17, and I remember thinking, God, this guy is old. But yeah, I know, isn't that insane? But it was really, 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 really good. And I remember our friend Jake. He there was a bouncy castle, and it was in the shape of a bum, and he jumped on it and he busted his nose.
No.
And he kneed himself in the face, and all blood poured down his face. We had to take him to welfare.
No.
And I made about 100 new friends. And I remember I ditched my mates, and they said that they saw me later on. They're like, where's Jessie? And I was walking across the site with like a trail of people following me in tinfoil.
That sounds about right. But were they in tinfoil because they were so cold? Were they wearing those like emergency jackets?
Yeah, it was so cold that we were given tinfoil blankets.
Oh really? Oh right. It wasn't like fancy dress.
No, we didn't have the Tin Man, the Scarecrow, fucking Dorothy behind me. It was those blankets that keep you warm, and it was so cold they were giving them out. And then like it honestly didn't faze us that there was like nowhere to sleep or anything. And then the morning came, and then we weren't driving anyway, but people got in cars and drove home. And only when I became like an adult did I look back on that and think, fucking hell, how did they get that approved? Do you know what I mean?
It still happens all the time, though. It still happens now. Think about how many people go to raves. And,
yeah, I know, but I feel like this was like signed off by like the council. This wasn't like a squat party or just a party that carried on. This is like signed off by look, I don't know, the council and other people involved. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, there was no resting points.
Yeah. Just raving points.
Just raving points. And I remember I saw a guy and he shat himself. Anyway, that was one of my first raving experiences. And then I've been to that Matterley Bowl many times since. Remember when you went to that festival I came with you called Hi-Fi?
No, it was Sanctuary. I haven't been to
Hi-Fi. No, it was Hi-Fi at one point.
Oh.
And then you went when it was called Sanctuary, yeah.
Oh my God. I mean, you said you thought it was shit.
That was not a sanctuary.
I thought it was an amazing experience, but I lost my fucking marbles.
Because I think that was one of your first raves. That's why you thought it was so good.
That was actually like my first festival, I think.
You can't call that a festival. That was not a festival. That was shit.
Oh my God, do you remember? So basically, at this festival Sanctuary, it was like, 3 days or whatever, and it was in the Matterley Bowl, I think. Was it actually?
Yes, it was in the Matterley Bowl, yes.
Fine. And I mean, I got completely twisted, and I was with you and your boyfriend at the time, and we went to the toilet, and well, let me just say that there's about a foot of mud.
No,
right,
it had rained non-stop for about 2 days beforehand. If that's ever a sign not to go to festival, like, what the hell?
Right, it was flooded.
Yeah.
And so anyway, but we were just getting on with it. Wellies, like the whole shebang.
Why did I go? I can't remember why I went. That was I got quite a lot of free paid.
Maybe because you paid. I was working for IMO Records and I got like VIP. So I was like very chuffed with myself.
So did I, but there was no VIP.
No, I know.
Can I just paint the scene here? Can I paint the scene here? When we got there and it was raining really heavily, yeah, there was a white plastic marquee with white plastic chairs in, and it said "chill out space." The white plastic chairs on the very muddy, like soaked grass under this plastic marquee, and it was like strip lighting in it, and that was the chill out space. But you were loving life.
Yeah. I remember that. Oh my God, that is so funny. So I wouldn't have remembered it, but thank you for reminding me, because I'm actually picturing that so well now. So I remember, I was basically completely twisted. That was just like the vibe at that point of life, wasn't it? And me, you, and your boyfriend at the time went to the toilet. I remember trying to message our friend Rose, who was coming down for the day. We'd somehow convinced her that was a good idea. Like, come down for the day. This is an amazing festival. And I was on the toilet tripping, trying to write this text to her, but I would come in and out of like the dimensions, and every time I look back at my phone, I'd have written complete gobbledygook, not letters, but like actual words. Like I was trying to write, but it'd be like the dog barked and like just like all this random shit, and I'd be like, no. Then I'd I remember I was slapping myself in the face, like, come on, Lara, you can do this. In this time, I'm actually not sure how much time had passed, but
hours.
Like I think I was in there trying to write this message for
Lara, we lost you. We saw you go into
the
cubicle.
Time.
We saw you go into the cubicle, but you never came out, and it was so heavily raining, and we were waiting. Why we weren't worried about you, though, is mad, because really, when I think about it now, if your mate goes into the toilet and then is like, no, I know why, because
it
you
never
kept going,
comes
yeah.
out.
But I just don't think you ever came out, and it was like really heavy rain. And we were very, very spangled. So when you're that spangled and the mud is sucking your feet down, it was so hard to walk anywhere. And you kept going, yeah. And we're going, are you okay? Yeah. But you weren't. Can you come out now, please? Yeah. And that was going on. In the end, we left you. That is so bad. But it was so horrendous outside. And we went and sat in my car. We actually got in the car and we waited in the car for hours until I sobered up and we could drive. But it was the fact that it was called Sanctuary is ironic because
that's hilarious.
God, it couldn't be further from a sanctuary if it had tried.
So after you lost me, I completely lost myself, and I kept coming round in really, really odd situations. So like after that, I came round again, and I had made it out of the toilet, and I was now in the middle of the muddy field, and I remember seeing the strip lighting just literally bouncing off this muddy mush of like about a foot of water and mud, and I'm stood there. Funny you mentioned the scarecrow earlier, because I literally was stood there like a scarecrow, my arm on my own, my arms out like a cross in the middle of this mud. Just like came back round and I was like, what am I doing? I was like, okay, I need to find my friends. Okay, like slap myself again, like, okay, I'm on a mission. I wasn't having a bad time, I just had no idea what was going on. The next time I came round, I was behind the booth, so my Access All Areas VIP pass finally came in useful. I was behind the booth with Andy C.
Oh my God.
He was on the decks on the main stage in the main tent, and I was behind there with like my hands in the air next to him.
God.
And I was like, oh my God, what am I doing here? Like, I would never normally do that on my own. Like, that would be so fucking odd. What am I doing? And I was like, also, like, how long have I been here and what have I been doing?
Oh my
So
God.
like, I just, as soon as I came round and I looked and I was like, oh my God, there's like 1,000 people staring at like the DJ and me next to him with my arms up in the air, like, what's going on?
That is
I was
brilliant.
like, I better fucking 0121 do one out of here right now.
Oh my God,
anyway, in the end, after hours, I found my boyfriend at the time and other people, and I was like, you have no idea what I don't even know what idea. I have no idea what has just been going on, but I wasn't like, I don't think I was upset about it because I felt like I was still having a good time.
No, mate, you had the best time. You came back from that being like, that was awesome. Yeah, you loved it. But imagine what your face looked like when you were behind the booth with Andy C.
I know. That's what I'm saying. Like, obviously, there was no mirrors around. Like, you know, you've got your Portaloo. Like, there's nowhere to check out what the state you're in. I remember I was in a Hello Kitty. You remember the Hello Kitty bright pink raincoat that was covered in little Hello Kitties.
Oh, I thought you were going to say raving outfit again.
No, you couldn't see anything I was wearing because it was pissing down with rain. I was wearing a fucking pink visor and a pink Hello Kitty rain mac, and obviously just chewing my face off, probably. Mental.
Oh, that's brilliant.
Sanctuary.
I never forget when I took one of the guys from work out once, and this is when I was older, like late 20s. Early 30s, and I took a guy out on a rave with me, and he'd never been raving before, and he might have taken something and he'd never done anything before, and it was his first experience. And I lost him, and I was worried about him, and well, I wasn't worried about him, I knew he'd be fine, but because it was his first time, I just wanted to make sure that he was okay. Anyway, I was looking for him everywhere. I figured, fuck, where is he? And then I went over to you lot, actually, all my friends that were in the... Do you remember this? It was an egg.
Yes.
And I went, where's D? And he went, look over there. And I looked up, and he's in the DJ booth. His eyes beaming, massive, his jaw swinging, and he was going for it behind the DJ, and it was just him and the DJ.
Wow. I'm not the only one then.
It was literally like a scene out of like Skins back in the day of like what happens if you give somebody something for the first time. It was only about an hour later, and there he is behind the DJ going for it, it's like on a big podium, like, I was like, oh my fucking God, he's having a great time. Look at him.
Yeah, he's all right. Looks like he's doing all right. Yeah,
he's all right. He was fucking loving life. That's a good first experience if you're getting into it. I always think if you came out of me for your first experience, it was always going to be fun.
I feel like I am actually I've been, this sounds really bad. It sounds like, again, I'm some kind of corrupter, but I've been many people's first time.
Same. Me too. I've taken a lot of people's first
Yeah.
times.
And but I think that's because we're wise, you know? I mean, we may not sound it all the time on with these stories.
And we're fun.
We're fun, but also, like, for example, like, as I got older and I actually had experienced more, I learned like just the fucking the wisdom tips, you know, like, as you go. And
Totally.
so I feel like I was a good person, you as well, like, to be like that support network for someone, and like also like know when to say to someone, actually, no, isn't a good time, or like, actually, like, this isn't the right vibe, maybe you shouldn't, like, rather than I was never one of those people that's like, you know, you get those people that are just like, like 5 a.m, the rave's about to finish, it's like Sunday night, drop one, it's like, no, like, that's not good advice.
No,
You
and they got a job interview the next day, and their mates are going, go on, take another one, it's like, it's Sunday night, they've got a job interview tomorrow, fucking tell him if you're a good mate, you tell him to go to bed.
I think honestly, like, I get it, like, people get carried away, but it is a bit selfish. Like,
no, it is selfish. What about when oh my god, we went to a party in Camden, a house party in Camden, and there were some guys there, and one of them was giving it the big un, and I kissed him actually, and then he wanted to come back with us to our house. Do you remember this? It came back to our house. He was the only one out of his mates that came back to his house, and it was like all of us lot partying, and he got fucking weird. So he obviously couldn't handle anything. And first of all, he went mad off the laughing gas. He literally like went into another dimension and started kicking and screaming, acting like he was beating somebody up. And then he was creeping round the house, and he was thinking that everybody was lesbians and that we were all shagging each other, and he couldn't get it out of his head. And then it got enough was enough, and we basically looked after him for fucking ages, and it got to the point where we were like, you gotta go, like, we're going to bed. And then he robbed the bottle of vodka that I just bought on his way out. And I was like, where are you going with that? And he's like, And I was like, I didn't care. I was like, take the vodka, go. And we never really heard from him again. I had to check in on his
Funny that.
It was okay. Yeah. Do you remember that one?
Oh my.
But it went from like being quite fun with this guy to actually being like, oh god, we've actually got to be his carers now. And the rest of the time was like I was having to make sure that he was okay until he sort of sobered up a bit so that he could go.
And now he's robbing us.
And then he was robbing us. I said, take it, mate. It's the least of our problems. Just go.
Just get out of here.
Just fucking go. As soon as he went, we were like, oh, thank God, we can have some fun.
Oh, I hate that when there's like a vibe killer, like just like a energy sucker. You're like, oh man, you know, you want to give people the benefit of the doubt, but I'm actually quite hard to impress, I must say. Like, a lot of the time I'm like, I don't know about this guy, and then about 4 hours later everyone's like, oh yeah, you were right.
You are like that. But
I am.
I think you and me are quite good at giving people the benefit of the doubt as well, and like understanding sometimes like what the situation is. I don't know, sometimes you do see people that go a bit cray and you're like, okay, like we're saying, you gotta
have compassion. Like, you don't just like kick someone out and be like, fuck off, weirdo. But at the same time, like, there have definitely been times when people have like brought someone into like the group or like into the house, and I've been like, no, I don't like this guy, I don't like this person, or I've got a funny feeling in my gut, my little spidey senses are like and then, like, I don't know, an hour, a day, a week later, a month later, and that everyone's like, actually, this guy,
he was a wrong one.
he was a bit of a wrong one. I told you.
Oh god, it's loads of times really over all the years. Talking of wrong uns, do you know one of my first times with something? This is so fucked up.
Oh god, go on.
Okay, so back to the Matterley Bowl, Winchester, right? There was another festival there called Hi-Fi. And I went with my school friends that were quite square and quite straight, and I went with all my raving mates. I think I talked about like the weirdness of being out with them at the same time before, but raving mates, all cool as fuck, get on it, party, knew what they're doing, a couple of years older, sound. School friends, nice fun people, little bit, you know, would drink a snake bite and think it was a bit wacky, you know? So Anyway, went to this rave. Went to this festival, and this one you did sleep. And it got to the time when everyone was going to sleep, and I was like, I ain't going to sleep. And I'd met these girls at Fabric maybe a year before, and I had messaged them, and they were there, and they were awake. So I went to meet them. Now, this is a sign of things to come. That when I got there, one of the girls was saying, I feel fucking shit. I've just taken something and it won't wear off, and I really don't feel comfortable with it. Like, I'm really not happy. Like, I've taken this stuff and I don't know what it is.
I think I know what you're going to say.
Anybody else would say, oh, that sounds awful. That's not for me. But no, me, being the way that I think I was always desperate to try things, I was like, oh, what is this stuff? Right. So this guy comes in and he's got black makeup all over. He's a white guy with black makeup all over his face and gems stuck to them, right? Almost like spider's legs, but I don't know, like an eerie clown. Anyway, he came in, and me and this other girl that hadn't taken this stuff were like, oh, what have you got? And he goes, he's like, I'm a clown as a living, right? That's fucking weird. Anyway, he pulls out this little bottle, and I said, oh, people find clowns scary. And he said, no, children find clowns scary because I'd just done being an elf in a grotto and know that kids find Father Christmas scary. And he started arguing with me, yeah? And he was like, no kids find clowns scary. Their parents just make them think like that. Anyway, I was like, no, sometimes it's overwhelming, like all the face paint, you know, you and your gems. It is a bit weird. And then he was like, he got this bottle out, and then he goes, right, he gave me the bottle, and he put a drop of what I then later found out was liquid LSD, acid. And bear in mind, I'm 18. I've never done a hallucinogenic before. I've done other things, uppers, but I've not done a hallucinogenic before. Anyway, I lick it. So then the weirdest thing happens. He pulls out this plastic lizard, and it's like multicolored, and he starts flicking it in a direction in front of my face, and he goes, what can you see, what can you see? Bear in mind, behind the lizard and his hands is this face that's got the gems and the black makeup.
Oh
right?
my God.
And he's not a good looking guy. And he goes, anyway, basically when you look at the lizard, I could see a dick, I could see a penis.
What?
Right? And he's going, look, what can you see? What can you see? And I'm aware there's other people in this tent, right? So I'm like, oh, I didn't want to say it because I'm thinking, what the fuck is happening here? And then he turned the lizard into a different, like flipped the lizard over and started pulling it in, and he made a vagina out of it.
Oh my God.
And he's going, what can you see? Tell me what you can see. Tell me what you can see. But I obviously didn't want to say a fanny. So I was like, I don't know. And then, but it was really fucking surreal and really weird. Anyway, then the actual acid kicked in. Up until then, I figured this is just fucking weird. And I actually had the most funnest, like, it was like all day with these girls, and like people kept coming and going, and people were taking mushrooms with us and stuff, and it was actually so much fun, but it wouldn't wear off because my brain was such a sponge to it all. I'd never done it before. And I remember saying to strangers that were older, like, is this normal? And then being like, yeah, I think so. And no, it just needed somebody that would have been like us, but you know, later on in life that would have gone, yeah, no, you are going to be fine, don't worry. But in my head I thought, fuck, I'm going to a mental asylum. It got to the point where I was so exhausted I couldn't sleep, and it was like sleep deprivation. I just needed somebody to say, you're going to be okay. But I didn't have that because my school friends are, they don't know. I can't go to them and say I've just done acid. They would have probably called the police. I couldn't go to my raving mates even because they were quite young still, so they hadn't really got they'd heard about acid and were a bit interested in it, but they hadn't done it. So none of them could say, don't worry, you are going to be okay, it'll wear off. All my brain's running through is people die on acid, killing themselves, and all, you know, all those dark thoughts that you hear from when you're younger of it all, yeah? So that's what my thoughts are as an 18-year-old that can't sleep. Anyway, it went on, and I thought, I'm going to call my mum and dad, or I went through all these emotions. In the end, I fell asleep for like a really short period of time, and it rejigged my brain and restarted my brain so I could then be normal again. Do you know that?
Yeah, of course.
Because now I'd been awake for days. Also, I'd lost the girls that I did it with. So now I'm like in my own weird space that I can't talk to anybody about because they don't understand. That was all adding to the anxiety of it all and all the madness of it. But what I needed was just somebody to go, you're going to be okay, don't worry about it. And I you know what I mean? Yeah, well, that's... And I think I know for sure I've been that person later on in life throughout the raving years where I've seen people going, am I all right? And I've gone, honestly, you're going to be fucking fine. Yes. You put my arm around them, give them a kiss and say, mate, you've just done a load of something. You're absolutely fine. Don't worry about it.
Yes, this is what I mean, like, That's exactly what I was talking about. It's like once you've had the experiences, because I think, if you're first exploring these things, your first thought is, I'm never going to come back. I'm never going to be
Yeah.
normal again.
Yeah.
I've had balloons like that. I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to be trapped in this balloon forever. And then, of course, like 15 seconds later, you're back. But it's a little bit it's a bit more intense when it's something that lasts longer. But in later life, if I ever kind of, decided to dibble dabble, I just found that I'd walked myself off that ledge so many times that I was
Yeah.
that person for myself. I could always be like, Lara,
Yeah.
you're fine. Like, you're gonna be fine. We've been here before,
Yeah.
So
I haven't had any of those moments for a long. Well, I haven't got on it for so fucking long.
well, that's what
Of
I'm
course I
saying.
haven't.
Yeah, but after the years of it, you can then soothe yourself.
Yeah, you do get used to it. We're experienced in it, darling. We're like we dibbled and dabbled enough to know what we're dibbling dabbling in.
For sure.
And just going back to laughing gas, and because we've mentioned Dave the Rave again, do you remember that it was his cousin
Yes.
who was naked on the... So this is the thing about laughing gas. I know we've talked about it before, but there's more to talk about. I want to know, so years ago I was selling the stuff, and before it was illegal, okay, police out there, and anyway, we're selling stuff. The factory or whoever sells it, I don't know, called me and they said, why do you need 600 canisters? And I said,
it was caterers. It was always catering companies.
No, it wasn't. It was called like nozdispenser.com or something, right?
Okay.
And then so then I was like, oh, I need to make cream cakes for a wedding. I've got 2 weddings that I'm doing cream cakes for, and I need the cartridges for that. So the guy was like, okay, just to let you know, it's going to come from 2 different factories, but they're fine. The quality of them is the same, but you're going to get 2 different sets because we've run out of one and I've got the other. I've got another supplier providing the other 300. So I was like, cool, whatever. I was thinking, well, that was easy. I got away with that, even though it's not even fucking illegal. I don't know why I was thinking it was. Anyway, the box comes, huge, massive box. We've talked about how indiscreet laughing gas is before.
Yes.
And you open it up and then 10 boxes of 10 erotic cream, right? So there's a naked girl on the front with cream on her tits. And that was Dave the Rave's cousin, which we always found was mad, right?
So random.
But good for her. You've got a modelling job coming up. You're the erotic cream girl and you're at every festival, right? But what I always thought was, if I was thinking about getting a bit kinky with my other half, and I thought, I know what would spice this situation up, some erotic cream, who is going to go and get a dispenser and... How much cream do you need? Like the whole rigmarole of like, open it up, putting it in, cracking it, putting it in, lie down, honey, here we go.
I'm now kind of like...
It's like the least sexy thing ever in the world. How they called it erotic cream, I don't know.
I mean, I'm kind of like now wishing I had tried that. I'm like, I missed out. You know what this is reminding me of? Do you know where I went last night? This is on topic, but kind of random. I went to a cerveceria, right? A beer brewery.
Oh, yeah.
But a fancy one in Tulum. And we got talking to the owner, and he's like, oh yeah, we've got the beer spa there.
Right.
The beer spa. And we were like, sorry, the beer spa? And he was like, yeah, you can have a jacuzzi in beer.
Oh.
So
I would like that.
So and so I was like, sorry, what? He was like, yes, you have like a beer bath. And I was like, wow, like that's absolutely amazing. Anyway, I went and spoke to the woman because I wanted to find out like what the deal was. And yeah, you basically hire a suite. So it's like a beer bath motel. You get an hour of what they call beer bath therapy. No joke. Reinvigorates your soul. You bathe in beer.
Bubbly.
Well, it's not even. So you could be, and it's all you can drink.
I think that's disgusting.
I'm not joking. This place is posh. Do you know how much? It's like nearly $300 for the hour to have this suite, which is like this very luxurious suite. And if you look on Instagram, actually, if anyone wants to, it's called Tulum Beer Spa. and all the pictures are like very sexual. So you get 60 minutes to have a beer bath. You've got unlimited beer. There is a tap. You don't have to drink the bath water, the jacuzzi water. And then you've got a sort of like a bed in there. It's very small. And yeah.
Who's thinking, oh, I know what I need? Oh, I know, I've had a fucking busy week, man. Do you want a beer? No, darling, I'll have a beer spa.
But like, for real, all the pictures are like these sexy couples. You get like champagne and like bread and stuff, and then you've got a bath of like a big one of those, what they call those big fancy like bronze tubs, but it's been made into a jacuzzi. Like, it's bougie as
A barrel?
no, no, the barrel of beer. No, one of those like standing tubs. They've got like a special name, whatever. Fancy tubs. Anyway, it just for some reason that reminded me of like the cream, because like spraying cream on each other is like, okay, that's something. But like apparently now you're like bathing in beer and pouring beer all over each other and like feeding each other, like, or like.
Oh, that's the world gone mad, mate. That is the world gone mad.
I want to do it.
Go on, I'd do it. Why don't you do it and then tell us how it is on the pod?
I will.
That'd be quite fun.
I thought it was actually quite cool. No, not impressed.
I'm not impressed at all. I'd fucking hate that. Yeah.
Okay.
But when I was a kid, I used to really want to swim in a swimming pool of pasta.
Oh, I always wanted a bath of baked beans. Oh, I would do anything. Warm, of course. Oh my God. I think it would make me need a wee though, and that would ruin the beans in the bath, and I wouldn't be able to eat them.
Oh no. Well, talking of baths, I've actually got to go and put baby D in the bath before bed, and I've got to say goodbye to the French people downstairs, Lara. So I'm really sorry.
Do you know how to say bye in French?
Au revoir. Oh, they can hear me.
Au revoir.
Au revoir.
Oh shit, they're gonna hear you.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. They're gonna think you're literally saying like, okay, bye, time to go now.
Yes, I know. But have you got any plans tonight?
Yes, I'm going to a rave.
What?
I know, it's a Sunday. I'm crazy.
Yeah, but you are crazy.
I know, I am crazy. I'm actually going to see Sub-Zero in here in Playa del Carmen in Mexico. Yeah, so Sub-Zero. First time he's ever been here in Mexico to play. He's on True Players label. He's on Hype's label. So it's like quite a big one.
I love how you're still hanging on to your raving hat.
Come on. I've got work tomorrow, so it's not going to be crazy. It's really going to be quite chill. But like, well, I never rave chill. Like, I will be bouncing. I will be stomping. I will be fucking going for it. But I'm, there ain't going to be no pingers around or anything crazy like that. It's going to be the grown-up version of me and D&B.
I'm jealous. I'm so jealous. It's going to be so good.
Yeah.
Oh, but that's fun. We'll have a good time. Be careful. Be safe.
All right, Granny Jess.
Would you like a wisdom tip to take with you?
Yes, please, Mum. Mummy.
Okay, here you go.
Yes.
Before you go, listen to the tunes so that you know the words that you can sing along.
Listen to Sub-Zero's bangers. It's actually not a bad idea.
Listen to Sub-Zero's bangers before so that you know all the words and you know where to stomp and where to go woo-woo. And then people think you're really cool.
Fuck, I need to dig out my rave horn. Where is it?
You find that rave form and you go for it, girl. But have a good one, my love. I'm jealous.
Thank you.
I better go because the lunch is wrapping up downstairs and there's only so much I can be in the doghouse. But au revoir. Goodbye.
All right. Au revoir. Au revoir. Madame's well.
Wait, before we go, so remember, if you know or if you are the fabric people, let us know. But I'm also thinking it'd be good to hear from anybody that went to Homelands, Sanctuary or Hi-Fi.
Oh my God, yes.
In that Matterly bloody bowl. That put me off going to Boomtown. I didn't go to the first Boomtowns because I was so worried of that stupid bowl. Boomtown have sorted it out. It's fucking great. But if you went to Hi-Fi, Homeland, or the Sanctuary, which is the worst name for a place like that.
Sanctuary.
Then holla, because we want to know. So send us a message on our Instagram, because we'd love to hear from you and hear your thoughts.
Yes, we want to hear. Were you at the flooded Sanctuary? That bliss, that gorgeous, beautiful event in nature. Send us. That's my perspective. The glistening puddles. the swamp.
Yeah.
But send us a DM.
Not what the rest of us thought.
Instagram, we are at Crave the Rave Podcast, and we can't wait to hear from you. Until next time.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Boop, boop, boop.